let nobody stop us. I close by quoting once more the man that the young lady quoted, that magnificent black bard who has now passed on, Langston Hughes. One day he wrote a poem entitled Mother to Son. The mother didn't always have her grammar right, but she uttered words of great symbolic profundity. Well, son, I'll tell you.
Life for me sure ain't
been no crystal stair.
It's had tacks in it.
And splinters.
And boards torn up.
And places with no carpet on the floor.
Just bare.
But all the time.
I's been a climbing on.
And reaching landings.
And turning corners.
And sometimes going in the dark.
Where there ain't been no light.
So boy, don't you turn back.
Don't you sit down on the steps.
So boy,
don't you sit down on them steps.
'Cause you find
it's kinda hard.
Don't you fall now.
I still going, honey. I still climbing.
And life for me ain't been no crystal stair. Well, life for none of us has been a crystal stair, but we must keep moving. We must keep going. If you can't fly, run. If you can't run, walk. If you can't walk, crawl, but by all means, keep moving.
Well, the Pro Football Hall of Fame has 4 new members this morning. Fred Biletnikoff, Mike Ditka, Jack Ham, and Ellen Page were elected to the Hall on Tuesday.
I was 6 years away from football. Being recognized for my past accomplishments simply wasn't enough. Diane and I sat down and talked about how we could make this meaningful for me.
Well, Alan, what's important to you? And he said, well, education is important to me because that's what my parents stressed.
Page became the first and only person to have built and been inducted into the Pro Football Hall of Fame. And while the likes of Joe Paterno and Al Davis introduced his fellow inductees, Page broke new ground. For the first time, an African-American woman was a presenter in Canton.
Page picked Willarene Beasley, a high school principal from his adopted home, Minneapolis.
Alan warns, don't major in football.
He was courageous to ask me to do it since I was non-traditional. His focus was on education, and that's what he wanted to stress, the importance of helping students to move forward, and that's exactly the same goal that I had.
We are at a point in our history where black teenagers constitute the most unemployed and undervalued people in our society.